It's something that I, did for a long time since high school, and sort of made the decision like, hey, this isn't something that's going to help me, and therefore I'm going to stop doing this thing, and it had caused a few issues and all that kind of stuff. And I was really fortunate to, I sort of made the decision and just stopped and haven't had a drink since.
Wow.
That's been a huge value to my life of knowing that I'm going to wake up every day, like just ready to crush it.
Ready to go.
Crush it.
Have you heard the saying, the opposite of addiction is connection? We at the Addiction Prevention Coalition know that there's truth in that adage. And so we are fighting addiction face to face, conversation by conversation, creating connection. Here at The Shield, our new podcast, no topic is off limits because there are no limits when it comes to substance use disorder. Welcome to The Shield. This is where we look at how substance use and mental health impact all facets of life. And we really do a deep dive on organizations in Birmingham and Central Alabama that are doing the thing. And I just keep being told who to have on the podcast, which I love. It makes my job as scheduling very easy. And so Ronnie, our amazing producer,
he is amazing.
He is amazing. He's amazing. Like, Nichole, I have somebody you have to have on the podcast. His name is Gaines and he is sick. You have to have him on. And so like, that's quite an intro. And I'm like, yeah. And I go, well, what does Gaines do? Well, we're in the same cohort, or what is it called?
The Overton Fellowship.
The Overton Fellowship. And he's like,
it's very fancy.
And he is into baseball. And I'm like, well,
I mean, I am more than into baseball.
Look,
I could tell you that. I started the World Baseball League.
Okay. And here's what Ronnie didn't know is that like I don't sport. Okay. So this is going to be very comical. So
I'm here to answer all your questions.
So that was a horrible introduction, but without further ado, Gaines, what's your last name, Gaines? I don't even know because Ronnie just told me.
Well, sometimes I'm kind of like Cher, so it's just Gaines. I think Jeb Bush did this during his campaign. Yeah. Jeb ! Gaines !
Oh, I love that.
It's Gaines Johnson, so my last name is not particularly exciting.
But Gaines is strong.
Yeah, I mean, I get told pretty frequently that Gaines Johnson sounds like something that means something. It
sounds like, remember when Garth Brooks did that, like
Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines. Yeah. It sounds similar to that, where you could be like you could have like a concept album.
Well, and I'll tell you, I probably will have a concept album at some point.
Okay.
I am not particularly musically inclined, but I did do a lot of musical theater as a child. So, there could be a point where I come out with a concept album. It probably won't be that good because I'm not that good of a singer, but it will be interesting. I have no doubt. And I'm also a huge Garth Brooks fan. So the Chris Gaines album, I mean, a lot of people look at that and they're like, wow, this is so, so far away from what he traditionally did. But I mean, if you go back and listen to it, it's pretty interesting.
It is pretty interesting.
I mean, I know that they had to like burn a lot of the CDs that they tried to sell at Walmart, but it was an amazing album.
Well, and he played baseball.
He does and did. Yeah, he ran track in college. I think he was like a pole vaulter or javelin thrower or something like that. And then he has gone and done spring training with a few different major league teams, the Mets, I know, and a few others over the course of his adult life. So he's a huge lover of baseball. I've always said that Garth Brooks is sort of like the so you didn't know any of this, but Garth Brooks.
I mean, I did not expect a deep dive on Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks has always been sort of like the archetype of what a World Baseball League player would be, because in our concept of baseball.
Yeah, so you're the founder of the World Baseball League.
I am. Well, and I would say like this has been founded by many, many people.
Okay.
Like I came up with the idea, but utilizing friends and family and people that I've worked with over the years. I mean, the concept has really grown from sort of an initial idea into, what it is today and what it will continue to be as we move forward. but the concept itself is not wildly different from traditional baseball. In fact, every inning we play a traditional inning of baseball. The only rule change with the baseball itself is that it's match play scoring. So normally in baseball, in the first inning, if the home team scores 3 runs and the visiting team scores 2 runs, the score is 3-2 at the end of the inning. We do match play scoring, which is not wildly different. They do it in like celebrity softball games often, and they also do it in golf. But it basically just means that you get 1 run per inning. So whatever team wins the inning, it creates a head-to-head competition within the inning. So it also, the cool thing about it is, have you seen a walk-off home run, or do you understand what that is?
That is where somebody is batting and hits a home run and nobody's on the field.
No, a walk-off home run is at the is
I
at
got a
the
C+
no.
freshman year in
You're
gym.
close. You're close. So it's at the end of the game, and one team is down by a few runs or a run or whatever. Somebody hits a home run, and that home run puts them over the top.
I wasn't
over
close
the,
at all.
Well, I don't know.
My
It was
boyfriend
close
just
enough.
died a thousand
close
deaths.
enough.
Like, oh Lord, my girlfriend doesn't know what a walk-off home run is. Like, it's all right.
To me, baseball is a very simple game, but as I have now been working on the World Baseball League for over a year and met a ton of people that really have never followed the game, you realize that the rules of baseball are actually quite complicated.
They are hard. Okay, I'm telling you, I got a C+ in gym my freshman year of high school because
they give C's in gym.
First of all, yes. Second of all,
I'm so sorry.
Not only was I not athletic, so I couldn't really hit the ball. I mean, I do the thing where I hit the ball and I twirl around, But then I had to take a test on the infield fly rule. I have nightmares still about the infield fly rule because I don't know what it is.
That is one of the most complicated
rules. But I was
rules in
tested
baseball.
on it,
Yeah.
and a C+, it's one of the reasons I wasn't valedictorian of high school, okay?
Wow.
Which tells you my level of nerddom.
Wow.
But I'm from St. Louis, and the Cardinals, everybody loves the Cardinals. I like going to Cardinals games, but
Right.
you have the people who sit there with the earphone or the headphones.
They listen to the radio
and they've
broadcast.
and they've got the books, and they're sitting
they're
there and
keeping
they're
the book.
calculating all the things. And it is that meme with
People are hardcore about baseball.
hardcore, and I don't get it. Savannah Bananas I can get behind.
Okay,
I understand what they do.
Well, that is an interesting segue into what we're doing, because I think one of the things that I realized very early on when I came up with this concept, and I'm a fan of the Savannah Bananas, and I actually went to their season-ending game in Cooperstown, New York in 2023. So they were playing
That's where the Baseball Hall of Fame is.
Good job. Great job. You're killing it. You know about baseball.
I'm done here.
You know more about baseball than many people, so you're doing a great job.
Okay, sorry. So you saw Savannah Bananas.
So I saw them, and I mean, this concept came up far after that. But what they have proven is that people are interested in a more entertaining form.
Totally. I mean, it's like
baseball.
Harlem Globetrotters at baseball.
Right,
Yeah.
totally. And they're going around and they're playing in these massive stadiums.
Yeah, they sold out Busch Stadium two nights in a row.
2 nights in a row.
Yes.
Yeah. And they've sold out Clemson Stadium.
Right.
And they've sold out some really, really big football stadiums. And I mean, it's incredibly impressive.
Tickets are pretty accessible.
They tend to be pretty accessible overall as far as pricing is concerned, as long as you can get them. And that's sort of the issue now, is that there's super high demand for Savannah Bananas tickets and low supply, comparatively speaking to the number of people that are interested. And, I think that the concept of having a more entertaining form of baseball is really interesting. And what they play is something that's called banana ball. And so, they really have changed the rules of baseball to make it not baseball, but banana ball. And they talk about that all the time. And so for us, I really wanted to keep the baseball itself quite pure, because I love the game of baseball and the rules of baseball. And I mean, we've done a couple of things to speed it up. We don't have a pitch clock, and that's intentional because I love seeing pitchers like Greg Maddux and some other famous pitchers that have come along through, my childhood and stuff, who are really thinkers that are outsmarting the batter and using the time in between pitches to come up with like what is the next thing that they're going to throw. So we're keeping the baseball pure. But from an entertainment standpoint, what we're doing and what we did in our tournament in the spring is we've created a series of mini games and performances. So are you a fan of American Idol or America's Got Talent? Are you familiar with
I am
them?
familiar. Yes,
Okay.
I am familiar.
So
I love Kelly Clarkson.
And I mean, who doesn't love Kelly? She's a fellow Texan as well.
Kelly Clarkson.
I mean, I remember watching her on the first season of American Idol when I was a kid and really just being blown away by her talent and the concept of the show.
The concept was real cool.
Of like, we're going to take somebody who, has never really had an opportunity to prove themselves on a national stage and give them an opportunity to prove themselves on a national stage. And so what we've done is we've sort of taken that concept and we've said, so in between the innings, each team is going to come out and do a performance. So it could be, somebody doing a part of Hamilton or, like a scene from Hamilton where it's musical and they're coming out and they're doing some of the dance. And then you could have Garth Brooks, to go back to our earlier conversation, come out. He's just played, left field the previous inning, comes out with his guitar and he leads the crowd in Friends in Low Places. Well, baseball has always been a sport where there have been performances, whether it's like clowns or you have these kids doing an egg race or a dizzy bat race or whatever. That's always been a concept. But in World Baseball League baseball, that will be scored. So you come out, you do the performance. It's a head-to-head competition between the two teams.
It's like a Miss America competition.
Kind of, yeah. And so the two teams come out, they compete, and whoever wins this performance competition gets a run on the board for that performance.
Gosh, I love that.
Yeah, and it's great. And so, and the other thing to supplement that is in between every inning, you don't want to sort of over complicate things or, have a team that's having to perform, 5, 7, 9 performances a game, and it's kind of a lot to prepare. So we've instituted mini games in between innings as well, where you also score a run. So something that may be wildly different from the baseball competition. So say like a closest to the pin competition, you get 2 guys from each team come out, they stand in center field, you put a golf pin at home plate and they're trying to get as close to that pin as they can. Whoever gets closest to the pin gets a point for
So
their
there's
team on the
something
board.
always going on.
Yeah. Exactly.
Does it also last like 3.5 hours?
So typically we've been able to keep it to about 2.5.
Okay.
So
that's improvement.
We've and the way that you do that is by adjusting the number of innings. So we've been playing 5-inning games. I would like to. I think with some of the transitions and getting those things tightened up, we could probably push to 7 and then still keep it to 2.5 hours.
What's really cool about this, and you probably know this, you're like, yeah, duh, Nichole, but so many people that I know who were athletes were like athletes. That was like, they were almost kind of pigeonholed into that. But what's I like is that you're showing people that there are different facets of people. Like you said with Garth Brooks, you can be an athlete or an amazing musician, or maybe you are a musical theater person and you don't typically, in high school, there's like the jocks. There's not typically the person who's, second lead in Hamilton and also the star shortstop.
Yes. It definitely is meant to sort of blend the arts and sport.
I love
in many
that.
ways. And I grew up, especially when I was younger, like a little kid, I did a lot of musical theater and
First starring role.
First starring
Well, not
role?
even starring, but like
I don't even know. I was like a
favorite
lot
role?
of bit parts in like Annie Get Your Gun and Wizard of Oz and the Music Man, some of these like iconic musicals and things like that. And I was out there, and these are all sort of community performances with adult actors and all of that. And I was fortunate to grow up in a community in Oklahoma that had a lot of really talented folks who had done stuff either in college or on Broadway or whatever.
Cool.
And so, I really fell in love with that. And I've always loved music. I love painting. I still do improv comedy pretty regularly. And I think that when you marry sport with entertainment, it creates something that everybody can
Yeah.
connect to
Right.
and attach to and say, oh, this is for me. Because in addition to there being baseball, there's this other performative element that is also really interesting to me. And sort of ultimately, I think that your initial draw is going to be baseball players as your participants in World Baseball League, which has been true for us. But I think what you'll actually see is a lot of people coming out and saying, hey, like, I kind of like baseball, and like I played until I was 13 or 14, and I can go out and play left field for an inning. But what I really want to do is ride a unicycle and juggle and perform for these people, or spin fire, or do something crazy with hula hoops or whatever it is. And that's the way that I'm really going to be able to contribute to a World Baseball League team.
Does Birmingham have a team, or is it based in Birmingham? Are there you know what I mean? Like, does the World Baseball League have teams in cities across the country, or what's the structure?
That's what we're working towards. So in our first tournament, we had 4 teams that played here in Birmingham, and we got them from sort of places across the city. We had a couple of student teams from Sanford. We had a local team that played, and then we had the World Baseball Legends, which are sort of our house team for the World Baseball League. And what we're actively doing is going out to cities and kind of across the Southeast at the beginning and sort of feeling out whether or not there's an appetite for something like the World Baseball League there. And, the hope is really by the spring of next year that we do have a more formal league with teams across the Southeast. So that and in fact, we're hopeful to have a Chattanooga team on the schedule very, very soon. And I think that if we're, able to do that and do this in multiple cities, you really will see this groundswell of support, both from Birmingham, but from these different cities that we're in. Because, one of the main concepts of this is that it needs to be highly affordable to families.
Right.
And, there's this, there's a concept from the Field of Dreams, which James Earl Jones says, people will come and they'll hand over their $20 because the money they have, but I think it's the peace that they lack is sort of what he says in that movie. And so we've sort of said that we'll always max our tickets at $20 a piece. And
because that was, so I moved here last summer when the Giants and the Cardinals were playing at Rickwood.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And did you see? I pulled that out. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you.
It's also, you don't know how important this is to the World Baseball League story.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
So continue.
What I know to be true is that it was very hard to get tickets.
Yes.
You had to go on a lottery.
Yes.
And once you got chosen, you still had to buy them, and they were exorbitantly expensive.
Yes.
Now, I have, and I knew a lot of people were like really bummed that they couldn't see, And when you looked out into the stands of the game, there was also a lot of feedback about the fact that we're at Rickwood, we're in a predominantly community of color in a stadium that has real rich history for the Negro League, and there were not a lot of black people in the stands. And that was problematic for folks. Rightfully so. And
for sure.
But Birmingham has such a rich history of baseball, particularly with the Negro League, and Willie Mays is from here, right? And so I know that there was just a lot of folks that were really upset with the lack of access and affordability, and it really pissed people off.
Yeah. There were a lot of people upset about that. I mean, I think that Rickwood Field is the oldest baseball field in America.
It is beautiful. I've been to a concert there. It is gorgeous.
Who'd you go see?
Magic City Blues had like a parking lot blues all day festival or something. It was so cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, so Rickwood Field is very much at the center of this. It's where we played our tournament. We've done a ton of events out there over the course of 2025. So that game was on June 19th
Yes.
of last year. The day before that, on June 18th, I was flying back from a golf tournament that I've been playing in Maine. It was actually the Bush family golf tournament, like George H.W.
Like Kennebunkport, Maine, like that?
In Kennebunkport, yeah. So
See, the political science nerds in us are coming out here.
I was also a White House intern for President Bush back in the day.
Get out!
So
Okay, that's our next podcast episode.
yeah, I mean, look, we can do like 10 of these, and I'll just tell you
so
different
exciting.
stories from all parts of my life. So I'm flying. So Willie Mays died on June 17th of last year. I'm flying back on the 18th. I'm connecting in Atlanta. There was a celebrity softball game on the 18th. I had tickets to that. Tickets to that were really inexpensive, and so I had tickets to that. Was planning to go. I walk on to my connecting flight in Atlanta, and I was running late. My previous flight had been delayed. And the guy sitting next to me as I walk on the plane is decked out in National Baseball Hall of Fame stuff from Cooperstown. And so I'm like, obviously, this guy works for the Hall of Fame. He's got to be coming here for this Rickwood thing. That's the only reason why he would be on this plane. So I strike up a conversation. I am a card-carrying member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. I love it. I've been a bunch of times. At the time, I have a business partner and a consulting firm. We've got 20 employees. We do strategy consulting and all that kind of stuff. It's called AB Consulting. So I've been doing that for several years. And so I start just talking to this guy, and he's like, well, I'm coming down for this game, and, this is huge and impactful because obviously Willie May, we're honoring Willie Mays, and then he passed away. And I said, so, like, what's your role? And he goes, well, after Willie Mays died yesterday, we decided to bring his plaque down from Cooperstown.
Whoa.
So Willie Mays was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1979. His plaque has never left the Hall of Fame. And because Rickwood Field is 5 miles from where he grew up, it's the first place where Willie played professionally for the Birmingham Black Barons. Well, that's not exactly true. He played for about a month in Chattanooga. But he came back and he played for the Black Barons. And before he was signed by then the New York Giants, he played at Rickwood. And we're bringing the plaque down. And the plaque was in a metal suitcase in the overhead compartment above where we were sitting. And I'm kind of looking at this moment, and I'm like, this is incredible. Like, this is an incredibly impactful moment.
For
you
sure.
have some of these in your life where you're like, this is meaningful. And so over the course of this conversation, this guy, his name is John. He's the VP of communications for the National Baseball Hall of Fame. He says, hey, the Hall's got a couple of tickets. I can't give them to you, but I can sell them to you at face value, which at this point I'm looking on StubHub and stuff, and they're like $1,500, $2,000.
That's right.
As big of a baseball fan as I am, I wasn't going to spend that. And so we exchanged numbers. I end up getting tickets to the game. So I go to the celebrity softball game that night with one of my very best friends' sons, who's a huge baseball fan. So I take him. And then the next night we go to the Cardinals-Giants game, and I take my buddy, this kid's dad, Michael Krombach, who works here in Birmingham and has been a friend since we went to Sanford together. And we're like, this is an amazing experience. At one point, I almost ran into Derek Jeter. He's like, Gaines, don't, like, you're about to run into Jeter. And I turn around, I'm like, oh, yeah, there's Jeter right there. And Barry Bonds and all these guys that are legends that I grew up watching playing. And I'm like, wow, this is a really magical experience. And we had parked, a couple blocks away from Rickwood. And as we're driving away, I'm looking at the lights. And I said out loud to him, I'm like, we need to do something to bring more baseball back to Rickwood.
For sure.
And like, there's a lot of baseball being played at Rickwood. There's not a lot of fans that are going out to
That's
Rickwood.
right.
And, if you think about the ways that you build up communities, one of the things that you do is people have to live in community.
Yes.
And I think baseball is a place where most people, whether you're a huge fan like me or it's like you, and it's like, well, I kind of like going to baseball games. I don't know that much about it. Baseball is a place where people can connect. And I think in particular baseball games, it's like, hey, you want to go, you're a dad and you've got 2 kids and you want to connect with your kids where you're not like watching Netflix or you're not like everybody's not on their phone or whatever. A baseball game is a great place to do it because you actually have time to sit down and like talk with your family members or your friends or whatever. And that's one of the things that I've always loved about baseball games is the community that you build around it. And I think if you sort of give folks a more entertaining, more exciting version of baseball that's still baseball, that people will come. You know, it's like you elevate things like make sure that, you know, I think the variability and like food quality in baseball stadiums has changed a lot. And like some stadiums you'll walk in and it'll be like, wow, they have, you know, sort of gourmet options. And granted, those gourmet options are usually quite expensive.
Correct.
And then some baseball stadiums you go in and it's like this hot dog is not edible. And so, you know, ensuring that we have the best all beef hot dogs. We do Kaneka dogs, but all kinds of other stuff, but all of our prices are very affordable. So it's something that people can come to repeatedly as opposed to, oh, we can afford to go to one Braves game a year because it's going to cost us, you know, for a standing room only ticket at the Braves Stadium, I think it's $33. So it's like family of 4. That's $130 right there, plus parking, plus, you know, food and beverage. If they want a souvenir, I mean, you're talking about several $100s where like the idea of what we're doing is that folks would actually, I said we'll max at $20 a ticket. That's not what we're charging right now. We're charging $5 or $10 depending on the event. And so it's like really what we're trying to do is gain true fans and participants in the World Baseball League because, you know, being a fan of something is quite exciting, but what you really want to be is a part of something.
You want to be a part of something. And, you know, the common phrase in this field and in my field is the opposite of addiction is connection. And for a lot of a lot of folks, they lack a feeling of connection to something, whether it's to family, whether it's to friends, whether it's to a cause, whether it's to a hobby or like a passion for something. So what you're doing is you're creating connection.
An opportunity for people to
That's
connect. Yeah. And I think that that's like really ingrained in the business as a whole. I mean, our very first World Baseball League fellow, which is our internship program, you know, the other day we're sort of rehashing like, we've been doing this for 9 months or whatever. What, you know, how do we feel about, you know, our mission and what we're actually driving towards? And he says, well, it's just, it needs to be all about the community. And you know, it really has been. It's like we're going out and we did a tour with the A.G. Gaston Boys and Girls Club of Rickwood. We took a bunch of high schoolers who were at a Sanford sports business camp to Rickwood recently.
Very cool.
So it's really trying to connect with different organizations in the community to provide them with the opportunity to connect with the World Baseball League, with Rickwood Field, with other, you know, baseball institutions within Birmingham that are really unique. Like the Negro Southern Leagues Museum has become a great partner to us.
Do you partner with the Barons and the Biscuits?
Yeah, so the Biscuits are in Montgomery, so we haven't really done anything with them. The Barons, we've done a few different things. So we released a rap song
with Shahid, who was
and,
a guest on this podcast.
Yes.
That is a great song.
So Play Ball is fantastic. And Shahid, I mean, again, like another one of these moments where it's sort of like...
and Ronnie went to school with him.
I know. Ronnie's friends with him. He's over here just like, yeah. Shahid is the man. And I've always been a huge fan of classical music in the symphony. And so I was on the Alice Stevens Center website, like looking for something to go to, and I see this local hip hop artist is playing with the symphony, and I'm like, I have to go
do this. Yeah.
and I go, and I mean, I'm sitting on like I'm one of those people where if I really want to see it, I mean, I'm on the front row. So I mean, I'm 3 rows back, and I see
Heard.
and I see what they're doing. I'm like, this is amazing. So I shoot him at DM on Instagram. I'm like, I love what you're doing. I don't know how we're gonna work together, but we need to work together. And he was like, Gaines, we would get on the phone. Get on the phone.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
likes to chat on the phone. I like that about
I
him.
do too. I love it about him. And he goes, I wrote a song about baseball
What?
it was like 4 or 6 weeks before, and I've been thinking about putting it out, and I need to kind of finish it up and get it recorded. And I'm not kidding you, from that phone call to when we released the video was like a month.
That's awesome.
And it was incredible. We shot it out at Rickwood during one of our tournament games in the spring, and it was AJ Johnson, who works in this building, shot it. And it was a really,
I
really.
can't believe you didn't use Ronnie.
I didn't know Ronnie then. I didn't know Ronnie then.
Kind of great
This is how fast this.
It just moved. It moved quick.
And so we shot this video, but I mean, like the sort of magic around what is happening with the World Baseball League and what we're doing has been really incredible to see, because we're able to engage with different folks around the community. And even, we had a meeting and probably had like 10 people there last week in the World Baseball League office. And outside of the hot dog guy, who I've known since I was 17 years old, every single person in the room was somebody that I've met within the last year.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? And
It's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come, right?
And I mean, like even on the shirt it says "People will come." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's sort of ingrained in the World Baseball League as a whole, is that if we put something out there that people enjoy, and I heard somebody in business recently say, the people will come. Phraseology in business is a little bit of a myth, because like you also have to tell them about it, and like
And then tell them again.
tell them to come, and
Keep
then
telling them.
tell them again and again and again. And having gone to business school, it's like that the number of times that people needs to be exposed to something. I mean, some people say it's 9 times, some people say it's 10 or 15. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there are various metrics out there that people use as far as the number of times that people need to be exposed to something before they'll go and do a thing. The good thing about what we're doing is that baseball is in our name, so you at least know that you're going to get that.
Yeah.
Like, you may not understand exactly what every other component of the World Baseball League is, but you're at least going to get the baseball part. And I think in some ways, like from an entertainer standpoint, it's maybe a little bit confused. It's like, a lot of people are like you. Like, I don't like baseball. I don't really like sports. Like, that's not my thing. And that's okay. But I think the World Baseball League, what we're trying to show is that even if growing up, maybe you were athletically challenged or whatever.
Thank you.
Like,
That's very kind.
the World Baseball League, there's
a place for me.
There's a place for you. Like, we want
There's a
you
place
to be,
for me.
and you'll have fun, because even if you don't pay that close attention to the game, at least there'll be some cool people there
Yeah,
for you to
for
connect
sure.
with.
In St. Louis, and I'm everywhere. I mean, it's not just St. Louis, but beer and baseball, they pretty much go hand in hand, right? It's even in the name,
100%.
Busch Stadium.
Do you know the history of Busch Stadium?
I do.
Yeah, and he wanted to call it Budweiser Stadium, and Major League Baseball said, "No, we don't name stadiums after beer."
Right.
And then he's like, "Fine, I'll name it after myself."
correct.
And then he created the beer. It's genius.
For real, that is one of the best tours in St. Louis, and it used to be free. I don't know if it still is. Have you ever been on the brewery tour? But they
No.
give you all the It's really
I've
cool.
been through St. Louis a few times. I've never been to a baseball game there. I think I've been to 23 stadiums or something along the major league stadiums, and Busch is one that I haven't been.
The old stadium was really awesome. The new stadium has definitely grown on me, and it's St. Louis is a baseball town, so
Huge baseball town.
But beer and baseball go together. But do they sell beer at Rickwood?
No. Well, sometimes it depends on the event.
Right.
So
Okay. So it's not
it-
designed to be necessarily an event where you go and drink your face off.
Right.
World
I
Baseball
mean,
League.
yeah, no, I definitely don't think, and we haven't done beer at our games yet. I mean, we definitely will. There's a connection
Yeah.
to beer and baseball, and I don't want that to be something where somebody's like, well, if there's not beer at a baseball game, I'm not going to go.
Correct.
And I think,
But also, you don't have to have it, is what it sounds like. You're
well, I mean, you don't have to have it to have fun. I think we know that. But
we know this.
But I do also think that there is potentially like a draw that exists with that, and as long as like you do these things in moderation and all that kind of stuff, I mean, that's the most important part, is like whether or not you have sort of a healthy relationship with, I mean, a Busch Light has 3.5% alcohol in it. You're not going to be hammered after you have one or two. You're just.
Did you say that because you know that is my favorite beer? But much to my boyfriend's chagrin, who works for a local brewery. But I do love me some Busch Light. But you do not drink at all, correct?
When I stopped drinking 4.5 years ago, my big thing was like, gosh, I really do love beer. And fortunately, it was at the same time where like Athletic Brewing Company came out with all
Athletic is so good. That's an NA beer for those people who don't know.
All their non-alcoholic beers, and a lot of breweries started doing non-alcoholic IPAs, and that was like such a game changer for me, because it was like, I think what I really liked was the taste.
The taste. That's right.
And it's a weird taste. Like I don't know that you would necessarily like it, but I mean, I really like that, and they do a really nice Busch NA too. I'll never forget going to the mullet toss at the Floribama and drink. You like almost can't go to the Floribama. Have you ever been?
I've watched reality shows about it, but I've not been to Floribama just yet.
You have to go. It's one of the most unique places in the world, and sort of shapes in many ways the way that I see the World Baseball League, because it is one of the most eclectic gatherings of people in the world. Like they, in addition to being like, they'll have 3 or 4 bands playing at the same time in different rooms and different spaces around, and it is actually very much kind of a shack on the beach. Like it's big and it's nice, but they rebuild after every hurricane, and it's like a lot of plywood and people writing their names on the walls. And, I don't necessarily advocate for this, but the women will throw their bras and they're hanging from all different points of the bar. It's just, it's a very unique place, and you almost can't go there without having a beer, but you can have a non-alcoholic beer there now. And so
which is so cool.
Busch NA is pretty fantastic.
Well, it's funny because for years, that was really the only thing. Like if you would ask a bar and you'd be like, do you have any NA options? They'd like they'd look in the cooler, they would dig, and you'd have like a Busch NA, maybe like a Heineken Zero if you were like fancy.
Back in the day, there was like Sharps and O'Doul's.
Right. Oh, O'Doul's. Yes, my parents had O'Doul's in the refrigerator, and one time I like wanted to try it, and I was like, this is like, it didn't taste like anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So O'Doul's were the big thing. But a Busch NA, like, I mean, that beer is going strong. There's a lot of people that drink Busch NA.
Well, and I think it's a great thing. I mean, when you look at the history of alcohol, like over time, like alcohol started off as like an accident.
Yeah.
Mostly. I mean, you look back, they have, yeast and stuff from beers and wines and different things of like fermented. And a lot of times fermentation was used to keep water clean as well, so that you had something healthy to drink. In fact, in colonial times in the United States, most people had like a low grade cider that like sat on their porch in a big, tub or whatever. And so, they say that a lot of, and this is where Prohibition came from, sorry, I'm like a history nerd.
That's okay.
Where Prohibition came from too is like you had the invention of really inexpensive hard liquor, which would allow, people to go out and get drunk very quickly. You had the Industrial Revolution. People were going to the factories, working really long hours, and then they would dip off into their local pub or whatever. And then they would drink until they would go home, and then they would, oftentimes it led to a lot of domestic abuse and a lot of issues, which is why women were sort of at the forefront of the Prohibition movement. And this invention of like this cheap hard liquor is what has led to a lot of addiction and stuff within people in the United States and really around the world, because the access to it is so easy.
Yep.
And I think, for me, it's something that I, did for a long time since high school, and sort of made the decision, like, when I was, gosh, what was I, 30, 33, 34 years old, like, hey, this isn't something that's going to help me, and therefore I'm going to stop doing this thing, and it had caused a few issues and all that kind of stuff. And I was really fortunate to, I sort of made the decision and just stopped and haven't had a drink since.
Wow.
And, that's been a huge value to my life of knowing that I'm going to wake up every day, like, just ready to crush it,
ready to go.
crush it. And in my brain, I've always had a very unique brain.
I can tell.
Like,
I mean, we've just met, but I can tell.
It is, and part of it is because, I mean, there are a few reasons why I have a unique.
Ronnie's over here dying.
He is dying laughing.
Dying.
Well, I guess calling my brain unique is somewhat comical, because that's probably an understatement to some degree. I've always loved connecting people, connecting ideas, connecting with people, traveling, doing all these different. I mean, I've been to 50 plus countries. I've been to 48 states. Like,
and you just want to be on all cylinders.
Right. And I want to be, like, fully with it all the time, so that I can really capture the moments that I'm in. And, now I'm able to, I think I was mostly able to do that when I was drinking, but I mean, there are definitely moments that you miss, and, you're out late one night and you're like, man, I had a great conversation with this person. I was like, but what did we talk about? What did we talk about exactly?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's great. It really hasn't inhibited I think a lot of people, when they stop drinking, they worry about it inhibiting their social life, but with things like non-alcoholic beer, or, a seltzer and a lime, or Dr. Pepper or Diet Coke or whatever, you can still, I mean, I still will stay, I don't stay out late very much anymore, but I occasionally still do. And when I do, it's like such a wonderful experience, because then I wake up the next day and I feel amazing.
Yeah, you don't have a hangover. It's pretty great.
I've had a great experience with, whoever I've been out with. So.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I hope it can be encouraging to people, because I think at the end of the day, like, it was such a great decision for me, and I think it would be a great decision for a lot of people to make. And to know that, like, I think at one point there probably was a stigma with like quitting drinking. It's like, oh, you must have a problem if you quit drinking. But the reality is, like, try it. I was listening to a couple of years ago, a Stanford sort of a addiction expert talking about addiction, and I thought what was fascinating hearing from her is, like, with substances, you need time for your body to adjust, and then you need time for your mind to adjust as well. So you need to give yourself, like, if you're going to set a goal for like 6 to 8 weeks. Like, I'm going to stop doing whatever the thing I am that I think may be harming me for 6 to 8 weeks. And then at the end of those 6 to 8 weeks, you can sort of make the decision on whether or not you want to continue on with that. And I think that is actually because people are oftentimes stopped by saying, oh, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to stop forever.
Right.
And it's like, well,
that's why the months, the experimentation months, like dry January, no drink November, sober October, that really the rise in people participating in those challenges has really grown, because it presents people an opportunity to try it, knowing that they might go back to that thing at the end of 30 days, or maybe they're going to extend it for another month. We have one of our junior board members who will do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, because they like the challenge. That's what they say. I like the challenge. It's just cool. I just appreciate you talking about it from your perspective, because it's a different perspective, right? So much time we talk about addiction here, and really, like, the fact that substance use disorder is a symptom of what's going on. But sometimes people really they don't have any catastrophic event that makes them want to stop drinking. They just want to be engaged more fully without substances. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And I think
it's not a moral thing. It's not a value thing. It's just like it doesn't.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of all of those things to some degree too. It's like, if there were a lot of things that I noticed for me personally, like I want to be somebody that is always reliable to people. You know what I mean? And I want to be someone that people can count on. And I realized that some of those times I was not a person that people could count on or was as reliable. And I think that was like a really important when you're like a high functioning, driven kind
Yeah.
of type A personality. You I don't know if you call it what's the thing where you want everybody to like you all the time. I mean, maybe something like that. But at the same time, it's like I really genuinely do want to be at my best because I know when I'm at my best, it makes other people perform at a higher level. It makes people have a better time, more connection, all of those kinds of things. And so if I can make this one, I mean, it was relatively easy for me, change in my life that is going to have ultimately have a more positive impact on people, then I'm gonna make that change.
Let's do it.
And it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter if it was alcohol or if like all of a sudden I decided that I like needed to work out more. Like if I knew that it was gonna have an impact on people in a positive way, I'd do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I care that much about
About what
people.
you're doing and
Well,
about people.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. I mean, I had after I quit drinking 4.5 years ago, I started working with a business coach, life coach, whatever you want to call it, like somebody that was just there to sort of. I was starting a new business at the time. And
You have like 18 businesses. I lost count. You have a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of I've done a lot of different things. I mean, we can. I know you're a teacher. We could go into my teaching history as well. I mean, I've worked with a ton of different organizations. As when you're doing strategy consultant, the nature of the business is basically you're plugging in with a business for X amount of time, and you're going in and you're figuring out and helping. Typically, I was helping them solve their hardest problem, whatever that was, and so oftentimes this is in industries that I had never worked in before. So the ability that we would have as consultants and that I would have is go in and you're providing a new perspective and trying to you're trying to identify what the problem actually is, because that is always the first solution. The first way to get to the solution is you have to fully understand what the problem is. And then you can start working backwards from there. Okay, what are the things that we need to do in order to solve this problem? And I think for me, I am always able to do that I'm always able to do that whenever you're like fully functioning.
Yeah.
But part of the way that you solve any problem is you need to be engaged with that problem pretty consistently. Like there are people that say, oh, well, I need work-life balance and all of those things. The reality is like what you are looking for is like work-life synergy. Because I know for me, if I'm solving a complicated problem, I'm going to be thinking about that when I'm in the shower.
Right.
And actually, I need to be, if it's a really hard problem, I need to be thinking about that a lot. Because if you're searching for a solution that does not exist, meaning no one has ever done this before, nobody has ever come up with the solution to this problem before, you have to be able to take components of things that that have been successful in the past and maybe some innovative things that have never been tried before, and be able to put those pieces together in order to come to a solution.
And this is where the World Baseball League comes in.
This is 100% where the World Baseball League comes in.
Tell me about the event on August 23rd.
So August 23rd, we've partnered with Magic City Mercantile, which is a local vintage shop. And Erwin Franklin, who is the owner of that shop, he is a good friend of mine, and he has vendors from around Alabama and really around the Southeast that do vintage clothing, vintage items, things like that. And so we are focused on bringing in vendors that have a lot of sports stuff.
Oh, cool.
And so we're doing that at Rickwood Field on August 23rd. It's going to be a great event. We're going to have live music. There's going to be a World Baseball League game. There may be some softball out there for folks that want to participate and actually get out on the field and
How
play
about
a little
T-ball?
bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, we could definitely have like a little T-ball game out there so that everybody can truly participate.
And how much, like, are tickets? How much are tickets to go?
So tickets for this event are going to be $10.
Whoa. Awesome.
So it's going to be really affordable. There's a number of charities in town that we are going to support.
Cool.
With that, so it's going to be an amazing event, and there are ways too that, like, if for whatever reason you can't afford to that $10, that you'll be able to come as well.
Awesome.
It's sort of like $10 suggested donation. We want people.
You want people there.
We want people to pay, but we really want people to be there. And we don't feel like we would be fulfilling our mission in the way that we could if we were charging people if we were charging people who couldn't really afford to be there. So, and the event's going to be amazing. We're going to have great food. We've got a lot of local vendors who are going to come out, food vendors who are going to come out.
Awesome.
And be there. And we're working on a couple of big musical acts that are going to be there as well. So it should be a really fun day at Rickwood, give people an opportunity to see America's oldest ballpark, go on a tour, take pictures, see a baseball game. It's going to be a ton of fun.
I think we're gonna come out because my boyfriend is a huge baseball fan, and his son is moving here, and he's 19, and he's a real big baseball fan. So
I love
that
it.
sounds that he's Puckett. Somebody Puckett.
Kirby Puckett.
Yes.
He's a Kirby Puckett fan.
Yes, I think. I don't know.
He's a great Minnesota Twin.
No. This is like a young guy.
Oh. You're gonna stump me.
I don't know. He's like
know.
from Hawaii.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
I'm such
Kirby
a
Puckett.
I'm
I
old
remember
school
that name
baseball
from like
guy.
a long time ago.
I'm such an old school baseball guy. I'll tell you, like, this is additional World Baseball League magic. So one, you need a World Baseball League sticker.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'll tell you a great story. So on Thursday we're having this meeting, and Ronnie was there, and he was coming to film and sort of help us think about the creative messaging of the World Baseball League. And so
good guy to do that with.
As someone that I have it on this sticker. It's the WBL.com.
Okay.
You can have this one too.
Oh, thank you.
And so I gave everybody that was in the meeting a pack of unopened baseball cards, and I wanted them all to open the baseball cards. So.
My boyfriend has a whole box. He was looking through them the other day. He's like, "Yeah, I think can get like $100 for these."
Yeah, I mean, easily, depending on what they are, they could be quite valuable. And so Victor Hansen IV, who's the vice president of the World Baseball League, he grabbed a pack before I told everybody to open them. And he opened the pack of cards, and he pulled out an Ivan Rodriguez, who is my favorite baseball player of all time, and they call him Pudge. He was a Texas Ranger.
Okay.
I was born in Texas. He was a catcher. I am a catcher. And I was like, wow, like that's some real World Baseball League magic. So I go and I open my pack, and it's like the legends of baseball, and I pulled Willie Mays. And the fact that this entire thing has been inspired by
cool.
this connection with Willie Mays, and we haven't even talked about, I've become friends with Michael Mays, who's Willie Mays' son, and he and I have been trying to figure out a number of things to do in the Birmingham community to really build the game of baseball, especially within the youth community and sort of the socioeconomically disadvantaged communities within Birmingham. Birmingham has you mentioned this before, it has such a rich baseball history. In 1905, there were 38 adult men's baseball teams in baseball.
Which, I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Not in Birmingham alone. In Birmingham alone. And it was part of what was called the Industrial League. So every company, especially the companies associated with the steel industry, would sponsor a team, and it would mostly be made up of guys that worked for those companies. And then they would occasionally have sort of some ringers and stuff too that would play. And Willie's sort of first indoctrination into men's baseball was in the industrial leagues. He played with his dad on a team, and I think as early as when he was maybe 14 or 15. So He was playing with grown men when he was really, really young. And to sort of think that in Birmingham we have such a rich history of baseball, and we know that because of Rickwood Field, which is modeled after Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, and I think the light stands come from the Polo Grounds in New York where the Giants played and Willie played at the beginning. I mean, those lights were the light stands that are there now, I think have been up since about 1930 or
Wow.
19.
Wow.
The field's been there since August 18th, 1910 is when it opened. But there's such a rich history of baseball. It made so much sense when I came up with this idea. It's like, of course I'm living in Birmingham. I mean, I used to live a mile from Fenway Park. I went to 15 games a year at Fenway when I lived in Boston. Lived really close to the Mets Stadium when I was in New York. And I lived 2 or 3 miles from the Astros Stadium when I lived in Houston. So I've been to baseball games around the country throughout not just my childhood, but my adult life as well, because it's something that I've always felt a really strong connection to. And it's always been a place for me when it's like, I need to go somewhere and think about something. Like a baseball game is always a great option for me. And, that's what we're trying to bring back is like this community around baseball where people are going on a regular basis, and you go there and you see one of the things I love about the improv community here in Birmingham, and I haven't taken a class in about a year, but every time I go to a show, I run into 20 people who I've performed with or I've been in a class with, or, it's such a great sense of community. And that's shout out to Faraway Theater in Birmingham. If you haven't caught one of their shows, they are truly amazing. But we are trying to do that with baseball and this more highly performative, sort of entertaining form of baseball, so that it does have a draw not just for your diehard baseball fans, but for everybody. And I think especially, kids and families,
right?
That is when you think about your target audience, it's like this is going to be a great place to bring your kids.
I mean, I remember going to baseball games with my parents being, little kids. And I mean, first of all, there's such great photo ops. Like those are some of the best pictures, in the stadium. And it's just really, it's a fun time. But to your point, it's community, it's connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for coming on.
It's fun.
Yeah. I really appreciate it.
I love it.
Excited that I got to learn a little bit more, and now I'm going to go home and actually learn a little bit more. Even I didn't want to learn too much. I wanted you to tell me about it.
I'm glad we were able to do this, and I hope given you say you don't know that much about baseball, but you kind of know some things.
I'm ish.
You undersold yourself a little bit.
Sandlot. I know everything I know about baseball because of the great Hambino.
Well, I think
the best movie of all time, by the way.
There's a great tie-in for Sandlot and the World Baseball League.
I see it. When you were talking about it, I see it. It's entertaining. It's like nostalgic. It's the 4th of July scene, right, from Sandlot.
It's one of the most legendary scenes.
And the kids who are looking up to the baseball player, and the memorabilia, and the girls. That's what I'm imagining, that you're kind of bringing back the nostalgic part of baseball.
Well, and I think, there's an important component of that, which is, if you do have World Baseball League teams in Birmingham, in Anniston, Alabama, and Oxford, and Huntsville, and Muscle Shoals, and some of these smaller towns in Alabama, and really across the country. Like our goal, I called it the World Baseball League for a reason, right? Like I believe this is something that we can bring to South Sudan, is something that can be brought to North Korea, can be popular in Europe, and continents really around the world. But it's not just like a thing that happens in big cities. It's a thing that happens everywhere. And you will see small towns form teams, and then all of a sudden you have this team from somewhere in the middle of Alabama or the middle of Texas or the middle of Mississippi or Montana or whatever that ends up being great.
Yeah.
And they're, driving towards what's called the Mays Cup, which is obviously the championship. We named it after one of the Mays.
Right.
The Mays Cup. And they have a real chance to win.
Yeah.
You know, it's a true underdog
And the town
story,
can rally around
and
them
everybody rallies around them.
lift them up on their shoulders, the whole thing.
It's amazing.
I'm going to see you August 23rd. We're going to go. I've decided.
Awesome.
I've decided. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
If you like what you heard, and I know you did, please consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing to The Shield. And if you have other people that you think need to be on the podcast, just do what Ronnie does and just tell me. So reach out and just email me and tell me. Get this person on. So thank you very much.
Worked.
It worked.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.